Welcome to another episode of a Whole Step Ahead podcast, where we look at the whole picture in childcare while keeping you a step ahead. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Alicia.
And today's episode is about special needs children, our special baby.
Yes.
So I know that in this last 2 years, personally, I have experienced what I feel like is an increase in the number of children who have inquired about interest in childcare, but the increases in the number of children that have different needs or special needs. And it has been very surprising to me. I've had 3 children in my care who have the diagnosis of autism. I have a few children who have a diagnosis of speech delays. And then I had another child who has a different special need. She was nonverbal as well, but it wasn't autism. And I can't remember the actual name of the condition. But and then lots of other phone calls, inquiries about childcare. So we kind of just want to touch on the basis of how do you find a quality childcare center that's good for your child and what your child needs. So a lot of the things that we try to go over. I know during my interview process or walking process when I'm learning about a new family or they're starting the enrollment process of a new family, if the child does have special needs or something like that, I do try to ask a few key questions to try to get to understand the family better, what their dynamic is like, and what their expectations of me would be, and what my expectations for them would be. Also, you have to make sure that you try to find a childcare provider who can handle the needs of your child and accommodate the needs of your child. Because a lot of times, sometimes families get upset and frustrated because it's hard. It's very difficult for them to find quality childcare centers who can accommodate them. So I know it's very, very frustrating. But you just want to make sure that when you do find that child care for that child, if they do tell you no, it's not because they're, trying to discriminate or treat you badly or they don't want to deal with your child. It's honestly because, well, most of the time, and I can speak for myself, I'll speak for myself and for me, it's usually because they don't have the accommodations or the staffing or, different materials needed to be able to serve your child in the best way possible.
And you should have looked at the law. I know there's a law where it's like you have to try to accommodate before you can deny, but I'm going to look that up before I say that.
Okay.
But I know there is laws and regulations with accommodating special needs, but if somebody's saying no, it's best to take that no because you don't want to put your child in a situation where the center cannot accommodate, and it might put their safety in risk. It might put their learning development at risk because we're saying yes, and we really can't accommodate. And right. Special needs is not like, it don't even have to be dramatic. I mean, special needs is actually, it's a wide range. It could be from like ADHD. If your child has any special accommodations, medication, something development-wise, physically, that's a special need. It's not necessarily like what we think of. It's something special about your child that they need that a normal child may not need. So, I have children now who have speech delays, and they have a therapist that comes to the center to give them therapy or to observe them in the center. A lot of centers do not allow people to come in to do that. So that is an accommodation that we use, and the children only have a speech delay. So that is one type of accommodation that we allow at our center, where we can have a therapist come and give their child whatever therapies they need in that situation. So that's just one type of accommodation. That's not as much as before. I've had a child who received physical therapy here or occupational therapy, maybe both. She had 3 therapists, and they would all come here and work with her, and I allowed that. A lot of students do not allow that. They don't have the space for it. They're not allowed to, or they can't leave the child. They don't have enough staff
to put somebody in the classroom with the child or whatever the situation is. So right now we have 2 therapists that come and go for 2 different children, and they have different needs as well. And then we also had another child who now does full-time ABA therapy, and so he doesn't come anymore. But he was coming after therapy at one point. So, and then sometimes some centers can't accommodate that. So you just gotta make sure that you choose a place that can work with you and work with the accommodations that your child needs. I do want to touch on some of the things that I talk about to parents or that we discuss. So sometimes when you are enrolling your special needs child with into a center, there are certain questions that you want to ask the center. There are certain things that you want the center to ask you. You want to make sure that they are on top of things as well. So definitely, one thing is to definitely be clear about what your child's diagnosis is. So if your child, and I'm going to use autism because that's one that I've had a lot of experience with in the last couple of years. So there was at one point we had a child who has autism, and she didn't stay long because after a couple of weeks we realized that we could not accommodate her needs. So the parents and I came to an agreement like, okay, this probably isn't the best fit for your child in your family situation. So one thing is, are you clear about the diagnosis? So like, when you come in and you say my child has autism, they're on the autism spectrum, they're low on the spectrum, or they're high on the spectrum, are they verbal, are they nonverbal? Those things. So it's important to tell the truth about your child's diagnosis. It's important to let them know what's going on of the characteristics of your child. We need to know if your child is a runner. We need to know if your child gets triggered by loud noises. We need to know if your child has light sensitivity. Those are things that we want to keep in mind when we're discussing childcare with your provider. Another thing is what are your child's triggers? So I just kind of talked about that a little bit, but sometimes, textures can be a trigger for a child, or certain songs. I had one child that did not like the happy birthday song. He didn't have special needs, but he didn't like the happy birthday song. Hated it. That was a trigger for him. I don't know why he didn't like it, but he just did not like it. And so we found a new way to sing happy birthday. We sang a different song, literally, just because it triggered him so much. So, this is not just for children who have special needs. It could be for your typically developing children as well. So you want to make sure that also if your child has medication. So we had a child who had seizures. So you want to make sure that the staff at the center is trained on how to administer the medication that you need if your child has a seizure. So that's a training that I've taken. Monique has too. But a lot of childcare centers don't require that training. They do CPR, first aid, those types of things. But
even if they have the training, your staff has to be comfortable.
Yeah, your staff has to be comfortable doing it. Because it's literally injecting an injector inside the rectum. And so when you're doing that, you got to be able to do it and be comfortable doing it. Can't be scared, can't be creeped out, So you got to be able to do it. You got to be able to discuss that with your provider and make sure that somebody is always going to be there that can do that or that will do that. Right.
Always in the building.
Always in the building.
I got a funny story because we were talking about being trained. So I hate needles. Okay. I hate needles. And with the EpiPen, the needle. So we was in training, and they had a fake EpiPen. It didn't have a needle in it. And I tell everybody, cause like, listen, I'm afraid of needles. I'm just, if somebody else can do it, I will do it. But to pass the class, we have to do it. Right. My friend thought I was joking, so she takes this fake EpiPen. Mind you, there's no needle in it. She's like, Monique. And I like, I freaked out. Everybody's looking like it's not a real needle, but my mind,
it don't matter,
went to this person just studying with me. I had to go outside, hyperventilate.
everything.
Oh my God.
I'm serious. I don't like needles. When I was little and I would have to get shots, they take the alcohol pad and wipe it.
Mm-hmm.
That is why we're gonna clean it up. I used to take my hand.
Just make it dirty again so they wouldn't do it. Oh my goodness.
I had to get nurses to hold me down. Like, when I say I don't like needles, but I got like 8 tattoos, but
right, I was about to say, mommy, you like tatted for real.
No. But yeah, she took
that's
that.
Like 10 needles at once.
It's different.
It's different.
In my head, it's different, okay?
And like on her stomach or side. Like,
oh.
They ain't never gonna see it.
But yeah, so make sure whoever is doing this medication is trained and comfortable, because I will do it, but if somebody else could do it, I'll be like, go ahead and do it.
Right. So you make sure you ask that question. Are you trained and comfortable? Are you trained and comfortable? Because Monique not. She has to do it.
I'll do it. But
it's not on her, so she should be all right. Doing somebody else. A child in distress.
Maybe that was it, because she did it to me.
Yeah.
And then when you do that for parents, you have to do it to yourself. And I was like, nah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Back to the
just how to get that started.
Definitely. But yeah, so definitely that's a question to ask. Is your provider trained and comfortable enough to administer medication that your child may need? It's also do they have enough staff to do that as well? Because sometimes if your child needs a daily medication in the middle of the day, do you have somebody that can be able to do that? Some centers have a nurse on site. Some places do not have a nurse on site. We do not have a nurse on site. We do everything here.
And also, in home, I don't have to give medicine. I can say, no, I don't give medicine.
Right.
And I don't give medicine because it's some paperwork and stuff. So if you're doing it in home, you need to make sure they have the proper paperwork and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I don't. I'll tell parents, no, I don't give medicine. And they would have to come and do it if it's during the day. Mm-hmm. Most of the time, I try to encourage, if the medicine can be done at home, it would be like 3 times a day. If you can do those 3 times maybe at home, then I recommend doing it at home. Mm-hmm. Because also you got to trust that they're getting the right dosage. And if they miss, it's supposed to be at 2.
6 rights of medication. What's the 6 rights, Mo?
I don't work that much.
Right dose. Right turn. Right route. Right child. Right documentation.
That's it?
No, it won't.
I don't work at no more. I don't get medication. But
right medication.
Listen. I don't work at no more.
But you still need to know. You don't give medication? I do. I know.
She knows.
Because I do.
You come to a step ahead. I do not give that.
But if you come to host, you see. But you got to fill out paperwork, because that's like when we were saying, you have to have documentation, have to have permission to administer and all that stuff. So we're not giving it unless you got all the stuff. Okay. Anyway, the other thing is are your teachers available to meet with you? Are they available to periodically have conferences so you can know that your child has certain goals, and they can work together with you as the parent? So IEPs are big in schools. A lot of schools have IEPs. At my center, I do IEPs for every student.
Really?
Yes. Because I want parents to understand that all kids don't learn the same, and we want to make sure that we are on the same track with all the children. So whatever goals your specific child has, we'll try to meet those goals.
IEP stands for
Individualized Educational Plan. That is
actually it's just an outline of how your child's going to learn the development where they are with goals and stuff.
Right. So, and follow up with those teachers. Are they available to meet? Are they available to do phone conferences? Whatever they can do to make sure that your child is getting their needs are being met.
And it also helps them understand, especially if you have a special needs child, they get to understand the diagnosis, what exactly is going on with your child, because even if your child has a diagnosis, there's a spectrum of where they're at. So if you come and my child was diagnosed with ADHD and ODD, a lot of people don't even know what ODD is, right? Oppositional defiant disorder. And so he doesn't have medication. So I do, in the beginning of the school year, talk to his teachers about it so they can understand if he goes without his medicine, these are the side effects of it. So they'll know if my child comes in and he's acting a little wanky because there might be a relapse of when he's getting his medication. They know it's not a behavior type thing where he's off. It's just like, oh, he must not have his medication, and they'll send me a quick text. Yeah, we're going through blah 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 blah. But it just makes them understand, like, when he's on his medication, he acts like this. When he doesn't on his medication, he acts like this. These are the side effects. This is how he learns. And so in the beginning, if you're talking to your provider about that, they can understand, and it kind of eliminates the miscommunication. It eliminates, your child, if he's disruptive, like going to the office and stuff, because the teachers kind of understand, okay, this is because of this. So it's good to have those meetings and follow-ups and be in communication, because it can help in the long run, and it gives a good rapport with the teacher, because we always say, when you and the teacher are connected, we are more willing to help you. If you are disconnected, we're more willing to send them on to something else. So,
if you work with us, we work with you. That's that bottom line. We do this together. We want the best for your child. So working together is the best way to accomplish that. Also, when you have, I want to say this about IEPs. So when you have a child, when you're communicating with your teachers, you know that they're on top of things. So like sometimes, let's say I have a child who has some form of diagnosis, and it just takes them longer to eat. Actually, my child will often take a forever to eat, right? So we give her more time, but you don't want to. So we give them more time, so I'm able to accommodate that for her. So like there's sometimes where she'll be at during that time still eating. At that time, just still sitting at the table, eating her food until she's done with it. And if she's not done with her food, you don't know she's not done with her food. She's gonna get on her neck and she's gonna whine, she's gonna complain, she's gonna fuss and fight. But if she's done eating, like if she's done with lunch, when you take her to her mat, it's easy peasy. She'll lay right down, go straight to sleep, or read a story or something, and she's relaxed, she's calm, she's good. So you got to make sure that your staff, the staff that has your child in this childcare setting, knows the accommodations and knows what your child may need. Everybody knows. So like the thing is, sometimes your child won't have the same teacher in childcare. So in school is different, but in preschool and childcare, sometimes we have to replace the staff when somebody's not there or somebody's like a substitute or whatever. So sometimes you have to replace the staff, so everybody needs to know what's going on. At the center I used to work at, we had allergy medications listed on the wall because everybody that comes in the room needs to know who has an allergy to what food, because they're eating inside the classroom. So that's another thing. You won't post diagnosis on the wall or anything like that, but you want to make sure that the center that you are at is providing that type of information between all of the staff, so that your child can get the best care that they can possibly get. Because things happen. If you go into a classroom, and I say about allergies, because allergy is a special need, if you want to call it, a severe allergy, rather, So if my child is allergic to eggs, and I send my child to school, and they give them another teacher for the day because their teacher is out, and that teacher doesn't know that this child is allergic to eggs, and then we have eggs for breakfast, you're going to get a call because your child has a severe allergic reaction, anaphylactic shock, and had to go to the emergency because Monique's scared to hit an epidural. So you got to have somebody in there, So like you got to make sure that you communicating this with your staff, with the staff, when I tell you, it's okay to have a long conversation. I love questions. When I have a family coming in and they ask me a lot of questions, I know we're going to have a good relationship, because I know you are concerned. I know that you care about the quality of care that your child is getting, the education that your child is getting. I know you're going to be involved. And if I need you to do something, you're going to do it. You know, if you don't ask a lot of questions, I'm suspicious. I've had people say over the phone, literally, are you accepting children? Yes. Okay, when can I sign up? I would like to bring him next week, Monday. You're not gonna come look at us, talk to us. You know, so like you want to be more selective about your child who has special needs specifically, but also all of our children. You want to be selective about, and really all these questions you can be asking to. You can be doing. You don't have to have a child with special needs. It can be any child. It can be any typically developing child, and that can be the way you communicate with the staff to where your child is going. Another thing we want to talk about though is community resources and resources that your child may need as a special needs child. I know here in South Carolina that I'm gonna read it to y'all because I came across this the other day while I was doing our ABC. Well, it's not called ABC Quality. Well, it's called ABC Quality. It's not called ABC Voucher.
What's it?
Something South Carolina Scholarship. That's what they call it. If you receive a voucher to come to childcare, it's called South Carolina Scholarship. You should apply if you watching this in South Carolina. The requirements are less selective right now. So if you go right now and you think you make too much money to receive a voucher or subsidized childcare, you might qualify. So you should go look, go see, check it, apply for it. You might be able to get it because the threshold is higher. So I think it used to be like for one child, if it's a 2-parent household, it can be you can make up to $100,000 and still qualify. Why did they change it? I don't know, girl. That's up to some legislators. They changed it. I think COVID has something to do with it. But that's for now. I don't know how long that's going to be going on. So I'm just letting y'all know if you want to do it and you're in South Carolina, go ahead and do it now. And probably other states too, but I know for sure in South Carolina. All right, so I'm going to read this article. It was part of the ABC voucher at the time. That was the name of South Carolina Scholarship handbook, and it tells you about children who have special needs and what programs to use to be able to receive a voucher for your child. So I'm just reading verbatim. It's not that long. So it says special needs. It says special needs provides care assistance to a parent who has a child with documented disability or special need and is available to children from birth to age 19 years, not months. Note a child who turns 13 during their child care eligibility period will continue to receive services through the end of the current eligibility period. Intake is handled through one of the following entities. So this is who you need to contact if you are looking for resources for your child who has special needs, or if you're having a hard time finding care or being able to pay for care. So whatever county you're in, whatever county, so it's Richland County, Calhoun County. So let's go with Richland County Department of Disabilities and Special Needs offices. You have BabyNet, and BabyNet is for children up to 3 years old. If your child is 3 days aged out of BabyNet, then you have to go through one of these other. BabyNet. You got Children's Rehabilitation Services offered through DHEC, South Carolina School for the Deaf and Blind, Easter Seals, Bright Star, and South Carolina Autism Society. Those are the entities that you can use to try to apply for child care subsidy to help you pay for your child who has special needs. And again, it's up to ages 19 years old, and you have to have a documented disability or a special need. So
basically, if you have a special need, you can get voucher scholarship for the state to pay for your child care up to 18,
up to 19.
19?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So there are some, and I know it's difficult to find childcare out there for children who have special needs. We have, there are centers out there that will accept, but I know that the number is higher than what's available. So if you are struggling to find childcare, find one of these communities, one of those places that I just mentioned.
They can have more resources. I get calls from so a lot of the therapists that have come through here that have helped children that are in our care here at Whole Child Babysitter. A lot of the therapists call me and are like, "Do you have availability? I have a child. I have a family looking for child care." And and a lot of them refer us often because they love it here. I'm not tooting my own horn, but I am a little bit. But our therapists love it here. They come and they are like, "Oh my gosh, this is a great place." Whatever for children with special needs, because they know that the child is very well taken care of, and looked after. So definitely tap into your community resources. Tap into those. Facebook groups help a lot. And other like online forums and stuff that can get you more information moving forward when it comes to your child.
Okay, I wanted to go over the law because there is a law. Okay, it's called the American Disability Act, and basically, a center cannot just say no. This is what I meant. They can't just say no. They literally you have to come in as a parent and they have to assess the child. Basically, what does your child have? What do they need? And they have to kind of almost try to accommodate, and if they just cannot accommodate, then we can say no, we can't. But this is like not private daycare. So me as an in-home provider, I can say no because I'm an in-home. Alicia, because you go through the state, I think you might have to at least assess and try, and if they just can't, they just can't.
I do that anyway.
So that's like basically what that special American Disability Act is saying.
Yeah. So
if you say, "Hey, my child has a disability, can y'all accept them?" It just can't be like, "No, we can't." Right. We have to come in and we have to assess what the disability is, and then my center can accommodate. And a lot of the times, there's agencies and resources where if they can't accommodate, they can bring in somebody to help accommodate. If it's just like I said, the resources they need, or maybe you've got to add a portal or a railing, you can ask the state to come in and help your.
Yeah, they will make. So the state does have resources available to make your facility appropriate for your child who has special needs. There are also programs like that they can use to help your child who has special needs. I know like they'll buy equipment sometimes. I've seen in the classroom where they'll buy like wedges to help the child sit up, or just different types of things, or cushions for a child to sit on because they can't sit down, or they have different types of issues.
And you as a parent, if you have the resources, a center might be willing to do it. Like if you have the things they need or whatever, and you can bring them in for the center to use, they'll be willing to, they might be willing to accommodate more often. And then also, if you don't know your child has a special need and you suspect it, we as child caregivers always say we're not doctors, so you can't come to us and ask us, and we can't say yes, your child has autism. Yes, your child. Like we're not doctors. We have to literally go get them evaluated and bring in a diagnosis because we cannot give you a diagnosis. So we can just help accommodate. We can give you some type of we feel like there might be something, and we'll provide the evidence.
Right.
So it's more on the developmental part.
Right. So we'll come in and say, these are the characteristics that your child has that I've noticed. So if your child is 3 years old and not talking, we'll say, hey, we see that there may be a speech delay in this child. We'll say, hey, we've seen your child do, what's it called? What are we trying to get at? Like when I don't want to be so politically incorrect. I don't want to say the wrong thing. We get canceled. Where a child has
symptoms?
No, when they move spontaneously.
Tics?
Yeah. What's another word for it?
No.
You know what I'm talking about?
Like they're impulsive?
That is a form of special need.
Is they're impulsive?
Yeah, that too. But no, girl, it's another word for tics. Like stimming. When your child may stim. You never heard stimming before?
That's because
I don't even want to tell you what stimming reminds me of because it's another word that rhymes with. Move on.
So if you have a child that ain't like STEM or you got my mind. Sorry. So different little symptoms and stuff that we may see or characteristics that we may see in the classroom that your child may have. Then we'll be like, hey, we noticed this, we noticed that, we noticed this. Your child's not 3 years old, not trying to put on their shoes, or they're not trying to get themselves dressed or go to the potty or things like that. They can't pull their clothes down, or they don't play next, like they do parallel play. And they don't do interactive play with other children, or they. Another thing is, I've seen children who have autism. They like to watch things that go in circles. So like the ceiling fan, they'll just watch it go in circles. So these are all like different tiptoes, walking on your tippy toes. These are all different things that you may see in your child that could be symptoms of a certain diagnosis or another. But you have to consult a doctor and ask them about those things. And answer the questionnaires that they give you at the doctor's office, honestly, about your child. So these are food aversion is another one. So these are things that you will have to, that we may see. And we may say, hey, I'm going to do a referral. So I've done referrals to Baby Dad. Because I'll say, hey, I see this, and that. I'm going to do a referral for you and have them come out and assess your child. You do the early interventionist or whatever, specialist come out and assess your child. And, but we know, we see it, we know for the most part, where there may be a diagnosis that may be soon to come. So just listen to your provider, ask questions, talk to your family members, because a lot of times, sometimes outside family members can notice things that you probably won't, because that's your baby, so you might overlook. So sometimes family members will be like, hey, you never noticed this about your child, da-da-da-da. Don't get offended, just kind of just be like, you know what, I'm going to look into this. Because it can't do no harm looking into it.
Prevention is better.
Yeah, the early you get, I have a friend, I'm going to say her name, Erica. Erica, we used to work together with Erica. I love Erica. She ain't got mine. Anyway, Erica always tells me that one of her things was when her baby was very young. Because she's in childcare, she noticed certain things. Right. And she's like, I know something is different. I'm going to look into this. And then that helps your child later on in life be able to reach goals in a better time frame, so that they'll be able to help your child in the best way possible. So just make sure you keep that in mind when you are looking for childcare, when you are looking for a good provider, and know that we are not denying your baby because we don't want your baby. We are only trying to give you the opportunity to have the best care for your child if you do receive it. So
we're gonna do what we did all the information stuff. So what we have coming up.
So y'all be on the lookout. Bolo. Be on the lookout.
She just coming up with words.
That's a real thing. I know you never heard nothing.
YOLO.
Bolo.
Buy one, get one free.
No, it's Bolo.
Anyways, me and Alicia are going to start doing
pop-up play. Y'all come, pop-up play. So coming soon to a park near you
in South Carolina, Columbia.
A park near you in Columbia, South Carolina. And we're going to be doing pop-up play. So we'll come out and we'll have a setup where your child can come and play, interact with the children, and I have to interact with you as a parent as well. Yeah, it's just a pop-up play. I play for the summer. So if you are not busy, you can come out, bring your child to meet some new friends, have a good time, fun. Because sometimes going to the park is redundant, and you want to do something different and have some activities, fun things to do. So we will be doing pop-up plays throughout this summer, and maybe if it goes well, we'll go a little further, so that you can come and have fun with us and your children. We're so excited.
We have different locations every time.
Different locations, so you have to like, subscribe, and all of those good things. Follow, like, subscribe, so you can know when the next pop-up play is going to, when the first pop-up play, because the first one is going to be like a big thing.
Okay. Where can they find us at, Alicia?
You can find us on the internet.
We've been out of practice. We sorry. We've been gone for a minute.
You can find us on the internet.
TikTok. Give me some more.
That's her TikTok. The one that y'all got mad at us about.
Our eggs are still booming though. They're still booming.
Y'all was so mad at us.
Give me some more.
Why y'all was so mad at us? It's nothing but the truth. Y'all was so mad. In January.
But we still getting our negative. People still talking about we're going to get fired. But where? How? We're process.
Anyways. Facebook, a Whole Step Ahead podcast. YouTube, a Whole Step Ahead podcast. Instagram, a Whole Step Ahead podcast. But don't go on Instagram because you ain't gonna find much. Just
Facebook, TikTok,
YouTube, Whole Step Ahead podcast. And you'll see. You got an email, right?
Yeah, so Step Ahead
@gmail.com. That's what we're gonna go with, y'all. I don't even know. But also, I want to say this. If you're a childcare provider, I already texted her about this today. She's like, you trying to get them mad at us again.
I'm gonna walk off.
If you're a childcare provider or a parent who would like to get us to read your scenario anonymously on here, the Host Up Ahead podcast, you can send us a direct message on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook. Probably the best place to do it is Facebook. And let us know what your scenario is on, and we'll talk about it here on the podcast, and just let us know our perspective. We don't give out advice. We just talk about our perspective.
Any scenario?
Any childcare scenario. Or
can I get one another?
No, you
I'm familiar. You just don't know. You might be familiar.
Okay. Sorry. Yes, you can submit one anonymously. But yeah, if y'all want to submit us some anonymous stories, and we'll read them out loud on the podcast, and we'll talk about it, and we'll discuss it, and we'll let you know if you're the problem. If you're the problem. That's what it's going to call. Am I the problem?
Am I the problem?
Am I the problem? And we're going to let you know if you're the problem. So hit us up, and we're so glad that you watched today's episode. Like, subscribe, share, follow, do all of those things.
We're back on track, guys.
We're back in here, y'all. Life was lifing, but we back. That was over, so we back. So we'll see y'all next time. Bye.
What's our next topic so we can be ready?
Stop.